Google. Let's go get them again.
Welcome back to the Robes Away channel. Welcome to Sampling Sample Weekend, Sampling Sample Saturday. Today, we are delving into the brand of Emporio Armani and its newest flanker of the famed Stronger With You line. They are skipping the elixir trend and they're going straight into the Parfum trend. So this is, of course, Stronger With You Parfum Edition 2025. I don't think I've ever been this early on a release ever in my fragrance journey. So this is something new in the Robes Away channel. Shall we celebrate? I don't know. I even beat the influencers to the punch on this one. That has to be a first. Like I beat Max Forte, I beat Red Adolescence, I beat them all, Curly, all of them. I got you. All right, well, I'm wearing it today. We're going to talk about Stronger With You Parfum Edition, and I can't wait to delve into this one. Now, the Stronger With You line has always been solid for what it is, in my opinion, right? You come in and, you know, is it too sweet for some people? Yeah, of course. If you didn't like the original and you delved into it, I can understand why you wouldn't like this line. I totally understand it. I have a little bit of a sweet tooth, and I do like gourmand fragrances in the designer realm. I think they're priced accordingly, first and foremost, like these niche brands that are asking $400 for gourmands. Come on, get out of there. But these have like a little ambery glow. They got that little chestnut thing going, and they got a couple of their flankers that I like, the oud, the leather. I've sniffed the amber and the tobacco, but I don't own them. As you can see here, this is what I own. But fairly solid throughout for what you think. There's some that are redundant. Yeah, 100%. Some not so good. Yeah, I think the amber one wasn't so good. But the earlier ones, the flanker, the original and the flankers, I think were pretty good. Obviously, the two flankers that came after there, Intensely, is that what that is here? Intensely, and what's this one? Absolutely, I believe, right? Yeah, those two, as you can see, I don't wear them too much. I got a little bit of a dent in my original here, but it's not something I wear all the time, right? This is something that I wear from time to time when casually, maybe hanging around the house, and I kind of want something a little warm, a little comforting, designer-ish, that may have like a little chestnutty accord, a warming accord, a little bit of booziness, things like that. Nothing too crazy. This is where I go with that, and that's where they slot in. And they're good at that, honestly. They were solid for what they are. Now this one right here, which I got a sample, of course it's Sampling Samples here, an early sample of Stronger With You Parfum. This one takes bits and pieces from several of these that I have here that I've, of course, worn. So you're gonna wanna tune in because it's gonna be maybe a little redundant for some of you. And you know, it hasn't hit too many stores yet. You know, all these people with FOMO, right, getting it first. And this is one of the things that if you're watching me and you're new to this channel, why get it first? You're paying a premium to get it first. And I'll be honest, this is kind of like redundancy. If you're going to add it to your collection, wait till discounters get it and you're going to save money. Wait a couple months, right? You don't have a YouTube channel. You're not making money off getting it first. If you own some of these, they will do exactly what this does, honestly. Some of them better. There's a lot of redundancy here, but it is for a true Stronger With You lover here. You're gonna like this if you're a true big fan of the line, but there's not a big punch of change here with this particular one. So if you are new here, because it's a new release, welcome to the Robes Away channel. I'm your host, Mark. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Actually, hopefully, if I have time, si j'ai un peu de temps, I bought a sample of Dior Parfum, the new one, the 2025 one. So to the Robes 08 people that are with me, the diehards, I know that a lot of you were asking about the new Dior Parfum and my thoughts. You're gonna get them. I'm just I delved into the sample and I went, you know, I've worn it, and Dior Parfum has gotten a few wearings. It's on its last one, so hopefully we'll get another sampling samples of another designer that is new. Imagine that. on my channel. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. If this is what you like, if this is what you want on the channel, you got to show me the likes. Proof's in the pudding. If I get, you know, a couple hundred likes here and there, usually on my videos, if I see 500 so likes on this one, obviously this is what you want. I can deliver. I can be before the influencers and kind of hit you with the real thoughts on the fragrance. And we'll see what we get out of this one. I can't wait. Let's start it off. Now let's go under the hood. Let's take a look at some stats on this one. It's going to be straightforward. Release date. I'm not going to be saying release back in. I'm so used to saying that because I review a lot of stuff that's in the past. Release date 2025. Actually, I don't even know if this has been released in stores yet. It has hit a few stores here and there, but not too much. So that's a first on this channel, like real first. The nose behind this, returning Céline Maton, comes back as the nose of the Stronger With You lineup. Doing well for Emporio Armani. Why change things up now? So Céline, excellent perfumier, huge resume, and honestly has done justice of this line. I think, you know, as far as the people that love this line, and I think the flankers have done justice, honestly. You know, they haven't, well, some of them have, you know, they have some interesting pieces. So I'd say like they punch up a little bit from Armani stuff, because a lot of the stuff coming out from Armani, some of it's kind of a snooze fest. And for somebody that likes gourmand fragrances in the designer realm, these are well built. So you got to give Céline her flowers, but at the same time, there's a lot of people that hate this line. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Now let's take a look at the note breakdown. Not a huge note breakdown. I think some are missing. Obviously, this is, you know, I'm fairly new to this this fragrance, so it's kind of like, okay, there's no info on it, but Fragrantica's got their note breakdown. I think there's more to it, and we're going to get into that. They have mandarin and pink pepper up top. We have sage and lavender in the mid, and we have vanilla and chestnut in the back end. Big notes to my nose would have to be the lavender, vanilla, and chestnut in here. Those are your building blocks of Stronger With You, and they're not strangers to the lineup. So that is good news to a lot of people. The chestnut was lost in some of the flankers, so it returns here. I do get some woody aspects that's not listed. I do get leathery aspects that are not listed. There's other, there's spices in here not listed, namely cinnamon. We're going to get into that. So I'm going to properly dissect this thing for all of you. I am wearing it today. It is my scent of the day, but, and I got my little strip here that I've been testing, right? I always do this with sampling samples. I wear it for at least 2 to 3 days before shoot. It's not a proper fragrance review. I don't think sampling samples as a, you know, it's a good little series on my channel. However, I don't consider them fragrance reviews. Why? Because I like wearing them fragrances out. Sometimes, you know, 2 or 3 wearings will not allow me to do that. I like to wear them in, you know, at the gym, wear them boardroom, casually, during the winter in Canada versus the spring versus the summer. That's a fragrance review because you're wearing it almost like a signature scent. So these small little nuances, you're going to miss a little bit of them in a sampling samples video, but I do my best with what I have. And especially this early, I think this is going to be a lot of good information for people, especially this early, of people that want to blind buy this stuff. I caution you not to, honestly, especially if you're a noob in this and you've been buying like these new Eroses that come out and the Dior Parfum 2025 and all that, and buying a lot of that. Slow down a bit. There's nothing wrong with, you know, look at what I got and look, I'm sampling. Why not? Again, of course, it's great information for the channel. It helps the channel. But at the same time, there's no rush being first. Unless you're actually making money like an influencer, I don't see why you would have to, you're going to be paying the most that it costs if you're buying it right away. Why are you first? Who's the competition? Like, why? So think about that a little. It's just a food for thought. So yeah, it's here on the strip here, and it has that warm, comforting feel that Stronger With You and its flankers has. So that returns. So let's drain this little sample I have. There's not much left to it. And now we're going to launch it. See you later, buddy. It actually left the room. It went right under the door sill. Okay, so Stronger With You Parfum Edition starts us off with the signature chestnut and vanilla combo. So, you know, to the flankers that are missing the chestnut here, you're not going to miss it. It's there. It's front and center. It's beautiful. It introduces itself right in the introduction. You don't have to wait for it. The vanilla, the signature vanilla is there. So you're used to that in the Stronger With You line. You're going to get it here, especially in the early variations here that you see here on my shelf here. However, I noticed right away it wasn't as playful as the original Stronger With You Eau de Toilette. So it doesn't have that boatload of sweetness. Like, you know, for me, I like my sweet fragrances, and that one's a little more playful, honestly, the Eau de Toilette. This one feels a little more mature. Yeah, a little more, you know, just straight edge. And what a Parfum Edition usually does in this case, and what I've been seeing with a lot of these designer brands that are doing these kind of different concentrations, we'll say, to top sellers, is what you're going to get in the bottle here is a denser, flatter version, a darker version of the original fragrance. And in a true sense of the word, this flanker does that with the Eau de Toilette version of Stronger With You. It pickpockets a little bit from Absolutely and Intensely, which are notably some best sellers of the brand, like some of them that are really rated high in our fragrance community. A lot of people don't talk too much more about the other flankers, right? The amber, the tobacco, the leather, the oud. Those are, you know, the outsiders of the trifecta here. Even the freeze, I have the freeze somewhere. Oh, it's in my unboxing pile over there. Totally forgot to add him. I'm sorry, freeze. People forget about you, even me. That means I have way too much to unbox that I even forget about putting a fragrance here for a fragrance review. Now, going back to the Parfum Edition here. So I immediately felt the lavender in here, which is a major focus in Stronger With You Parfum. It is much stronger than it is in the original and some of its flankers. So lavender is not a new note to this lineup, but I felt it had more of a presence in this release. It matures the scent a bit, smooths out the scent a bit as well, and gives a good floral clean component to the fragrance itself. Lavender is really a note du jour right now in the designer game. It has made a huge comeback in the designer sense. Let's say, like, some will say it never left. Lavender is a true staple in men perfumery. It's been there for years. Even my baby, Le Male, back in the 90s, it was huge then. Still huge now, but it had sort of a, let's say it wasn't really a primary note. It wasn't utilized. Its volume, I like to talk about volumes in fragrances. Volume wasn't very high. It was still in fragrances as a depth piece, a piece that could give different levels to a fragrance, but it never really, not that it never really, but it never really has the spotlight that it has now. A lot of perfumiers are using lavender and volume turned up in their top sellers, and it works well. It's making a huge comeback, right? Le Male Elixir, namely, has that. I've smelt it in Sauvage Elixir as well. So it's in these elixir darker fragrances where they have a contrast of this, you know, it's a good lavender, right? It doesn't smell like dryer sheets. A lot of them do, some of them do, but the contrast of darker notes with the lavender really works well. Now, the vanilla and lavender, which are huge pieces in this release from Stronger With You, may remind some of Le Male fame, right? I'm talking a little bit about my baby here, but I think the chestnut note in here, which is really prominent, especially in this introduction, slams that comparison right down. It just says, no, don't compare me to Le Male, and really, it can't be. But those facets did remind me a little bit of my baby, a little bit. Now, I felt the chestnut note was really prominent in my wearing. So that is good news for people that love the chestnut in here. So whomever loved that note, missed it in some of the flankers, wants it back, it is back. And it is quite a big piece of this flanker. Even though Stronger With You Parfum is sweet, the smoothness here is undeniable. It is very smooth, it's very tame, it's very flat, and it really is a good comparable to a recent flanker of a top seller that I just did a sampling samples on, which was Spice Bomb Dark Leather. Both scents don't have much bite to them, right? They flattened out the bite and you know, the volumes. And I talk about these volumes where there's, you know, peaks and valleys and things like that, and certain notes in the fragrance to give it some personality. And in these flankers, it feels like it fell a little flat in regards to that. So the volume stays straight as an arrow and nothing really stands out. You know, you got your big pieces of the Stronger With You DNA. They stay there. They are your platform. And there's little things here and there that add to it, but really just stays firm to what it's going to be. There is some mild spicy facets from the pink pepper in here, but I also think I pick up some cinnamon in here. Note is not listed. And it is, of course, cinnamon is in some Stronger With You flankers, so I could see that as a return. So it's not a big surprise that I do smell a little bit of cinnamon in here as well. Now moving into the mid and deeper dry down of Stronger With You Parfum Edition, it continues with the large base of vanilla and lavender, which are both your primaries. They're holding hands throughout the fragrance. They are not gonna budge. They don't move. Their volumes don't go any higher. They're primary and they stay primary. The chestnut is the third wheel. It continues with the big two notes, but I noticed with the chestnut that I went in and out of the scent during my wearings, more in the back end. In the introduction, it's there with the big two, so it was almost like a big three, basically. And once it went on my skin and it was there for a few hours, I started noticing chestnut gone, right? Lavender, vanilla, maybe there's a little something here, a little something there. And then, oh, chestnut comes back. So I noticed that, and it went in and out of the fragrance during my wearing. So it's, I'd spot it, and then there'd be that piece would leave and only to return later in the wearing. The new thing I did not expect was a suede-like leather, because it's not in the note breakdown either. And this backbone, when everything started to open up, this suede-like leather showed up to me. So we got cinnamon that wasn't listed. We got a leather suede-like thing, not listed as in the note breakdown either, that are honestly high secondary notes. They're in there. So those two, and of course cedar is going to pop off towards the end here, but yeah, those two notes are in this fragrance. Now, don't expect a big bold leather like you got in this one. This one is definitely, if you want leather and a Stronger With You DNA, this is the one to pick up. This is not, this one right here is not the one to pick up. Why? The leather is a suede-like leather. It's very tame. And I'm going to refer back to Spice Bomb Dark, and I don't mean these two smell alike. They really don't. But it's uncanny how fragrances get built kind of the same way around the same time that they get released. Like once you get in this perfume thing, you're going to see that a lot of fragrances start stealing each other's ideas, but they don't smell alike per se, but they're built the same way, right? With, again, Stronger With You DNA, but there's some other things that are a little different. So the leather in here is a lot less pronounced than the dark leather from Spice Bomb, but it's the same idea. It's suede, very minimal. Depth piece, sure. It's there, and it does give out a different facet. And again, it warms it, it matures it a bit, and it's not the first time that suede is utilized in this fragrance lineup. It was also utilized in Intensely, so it pulls a little bit of that in here as well. So if once you do get this in store, you get the smell and things like that, you're gonna get people that are gonna say, this smells a little bit like Absolutely. It smells a little bit like the original, like they brought back the original a little bit. It smells a little bit like the Intensely, and those people would be correct. Honestly, it pulls a lot from this big three. This right here, this trifecta, this has a lot of those facets. So if you like these, and a lot of people do, you'll be happy with this, but there's some redundancy there, right? There's also, of course, a really mild woody backdrop here in the back end. Even though, again, not listed, it smelled like cedar to me. Now, the mid of this fragrance reminded me a bit of 1 Million DNA. 1 Million by Paco Rabanne, yeah. And I think the Spice Bomb Dark Leather also reminded me a bit of it. 1 million uses, of course, sandalwood. It utilizes a suede-like leather, rose, of course, which is not in here, and cinnamon, a big punching cinnamon in 1 million, which Spice Bomb Dark Leather also has a few of those facets. But this time, remove the sandalwood, right? Remove, of course, the rose. There's no rose in here neither. But the cinnamon and the suede-like leather really reminded me of the same kind of use in the 1 million fragrance, the original Eau de Toilette. And of course, this one has chestnut, so that changes, morphs the thing quite a bit. Heavy lavender, that changes things quite a bit. And vanilla to round it out. So in a nutshell, you got your chestnut, you got your lavender, which is much higher in concentration or in, let's say, volume than the other ones in this lineup. And then, of course, you got your vanilla. So that nutty aspect, that gourmand aspect with, of course, a nice clean lavender and a beautiful vanilla note all together are your backbone. Now, of course, you got your suede, you got your spices, you got your woods in there, same thing, right? So a nice little mashup. At the end of the day, it's a stronger with you flanker that is unmistakable that it is a stronger with you. If you blindfolded me, I would say stronger with you, insert flanker, name here. Honestly, it's not gonna pull you away and go, oh, this smells like a Le Male flanker or a 1 million flanker. It's gonna smell like a spice. No, 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 no. Unmistakable. It is gonna be a stronger with you flanker. Now, it pulls a bit from the other designer scents as well, as I named off, right? A few Le Male elixirs and Le Male and the Spice Bomb Dark Leather. You know, I named off a few. I would not categorize this as that kind of scent profile, right? Those are not comparisons in regards to scent profile, right? This does not smell like Le Male elixir. No, it does not. It's definitely not. That stuff's way more childish. Which is funny to say. Both are compared to being childish. It's going to sell well. Honestly, it will. I would assume. But if you're looking for a groundbreaking, new, bold, exciting release from the Stronger With You lineup, this flanker won't move the needle much. That's the one thing. It slots in exactly where I thought it would. A denser, darker, less sweet, less playful, but still retains the warmth and cozy effect of the original. Removes the booze from the Absolutely flanker. Adds the suede and cinnamon from the Intensely flanker. And you get this. Now, depending on your thought process and what you think about those notes and those particular flankers and the fragrances themselves, you might have a huge winner here. Redundancy, yes, because really it was all about volumes here. They just switched some deck chairs around, and the volumes were very much, and again, like a Parfum edition fragrance, it really just went, just very, like the volumes are just not, like there's a threshold in these Parfum editions, and some of these notes as primaries, they just hit it and they stay there. It's very interesting to see the differences when you start changing the concentration of the fragrance. Recommendations for season, day-night versatility, and performance on this one. Seasons, just like the other ones, I would have to say fall-winter. It's a denser fragrance. It's a darker, warmer, comforting fragrance. It's going to be best in fall and winter. Day or night, I feel like this is more of a nighttime scent. It just has that personality to it. However, I think you could pull this off as just the day-to-day fragrance, like casually during the day. Why not? Like if it's cold out, like here in Canada, right? It's like minus 20, minus 30 out here. I'm wearing this during the day, casually, no issues, but it has, you know, that personality that I think like date night, things like that. It would work really, really well. Versatility, I'm going to go average. There is, of course, some restrictions with darker scents like this, right? I wouldn't wear it in the high heat. So there is some restrictions to these kind of fragrances, right? Not the best fragrance to wear with a tuxedo, things like that. So the restrictions are there, but it's fairly average as a designer. Like, you know what you're getting yourself into when you're buying a Stronger With You flanker. The versatility will work for a lot of different things. So it's average. Performance, something that's really important in the fragrance game. And again, if you're new to this channel, Not everything needs to be beast mode. No, not everything has to blow the doors off the hinges. It's nice to have a well-rounded fragrance, curated lineup for yourself. You know, you need the ultra versatile. You need the date night. You need the summer fragrance, things like that. Not everything and not every fragrance has to be beast mode, longevity, and projection. It really doesn't. And when you start realizing that, you become a man. You go from a boy to a man. Congratulations. Performance. This thing will not blow the doors off, and that's why I'm saying this. Longevity, 6 to 8 hours, which is almost exactly where I want a designer fragrance like this to be. 7 to 9 is usually I call it the V. That's where I want them. If it's a little shorter than that, perfect. I can wear it for different occasions, right? Not everything needs to last 8 to 10 hours on my skin. Projection, average. And again, with these Parfum editions, people think, oh yeah, it's gonna be bigger concentration, a lot more projecting, and usually the rule of thumb is that they last longer, but they don't project as much as the eau de toilettes. So with this, average projection though, but it worked well. Like, that's perfectly suitable for a designer fragrance. Some people say, no, whoa, not 10 plus hours. That's a fail. So yeah, the little, again, take it with a grain of salt, like a couple wearings, right? I can only judge so much with a couple wearings. Personally, for me, a fragrance review, which this isn't, would be several wearings, 7 plus, where I could get a good grasp of performance. But this is what I got in the mid of our Canadian winters, which there was I wish, minus 20 days out here during this wearing. So my final thoughts on Stronger With You Parfum early fragrance review. Like, I still can't believe it. It came in early. Final thoughts on this little sample. I'm obviously a little bit of a collector of the Stronger With You. I'm a little bit of a collector overall. This one personally, and again, with new fragrance reviews, be careful. Brand new releases, it's always going to be either everybody's going to go with the flow, 3-4 guys are going to pan it, and everybody else is going to run together. So all the influencers are just going to say the exact same thing to you, or the first 4 or 5 influencers, which again, I'm before them right now, they're all going to say positive things. So I'm not helping them. Why? Because I'm right in the middle. Fragrance reviewer can be in the middle of the game. Doesn't have to be, oh my God, Band-Aid dropper, 10 out of 10, go buy it, blind buy it. And it doesn't have to be, oh my God, the world is burning, it's terrible, Stronger With You, they're dead, Armani, garbage. You can be in the middle and go, you know what, this flanker's not as good as some of these on here. Honestly, it's in the middle of the pack. But you know what, it's not bad. So, does it show me anything new to the line? Not really. I think the Absolutely and Intensely versions really changed the Stronger With You DNA enough for them to have a cult following that they currently have. They have a few years behind them, and the proof's in the pudding. People still want this stuff, and people get FOMO, like, is it discontinued? Is Absolutely discontinued? Do I need to get a backup bottle? That's where you know that it had an effect in the fragrance community, right? Now this one isn't a big change. Don't expect beast mode performance. Don't expect a huge difference on a brand new note that's in this release that took over the scent, changed it a little bit, and made it a little different, or quite a bit different. No, the dynamic stays the same. Honestly, if you own one or a few of these and you're not a collector, especially the big 3 here, Absolutely, Intensely, and the original, can this be redundant? Absolutely. I'd pass on it, honestly. If you're finding the original Eau de Toilette starting to get a little more childish for you, like you bought it, and you're kind of looking to renew, right? And you want maybe something a little more robust, a little more mature, the Oud one's pretty good, but this would be a suitable replacement that will mature your nose a little bit, like your nose has matured a bit, sorry, and that you would move on from the Eau de Toilette and go into this one. Yeah, that's the perfect place for it. Now, I do have to give it a score out of 10. I always do this. It's a rule of thumb. And just because you never know when it's going to show up back on my channel. Remember, if you're new here or not, The Autumn Parfum 2025 is coming out on my channel. I have the exact same sample of it. I can't wait to give you my thoughts on it, so subscribe. But if I had to give a score on this Stronger With You flanker, and my score is basically, I'll just give it to you straight. An 8 out of 10 is when I say it's bottle worthy for me. So I may not get a bottle now. I'm not really super excited. I don't have to buy it right away. A 9, obviously step up. 10 is usually a bottle's coming. I already bought it. Anything lower is at that cusp. This is going to be a 7 out of 10. And the reason for it, that it's a little below, is because I got these 3. And like I said in the review, you know, what I say on my channel is proof in the pudding in my collection. Is that, why buy this? Like, as a collector, eventually, right? I collect. But does even this do the same thing in the same situations and can do the same kind of results, maybe sometimes even better? Absolutely. So a 7 out of 10 is that it didn't bring anything new to the game. A little disappointing in that end. It's still very solid as far as building upon this lineup. I see some positives. And again, your fragrance reviewer should give out positives and negatives. So a 7 out of 10. Now that you heard my take, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Good, bad, and the ugly, right? As early as I am, I don't know if anybody's going to have any thoughts on it, at least not now. But I'm very glad that I can, you know, give you these thoughts. Hopefully I help you in your buying guide in regards to this particular fragrance. And as always, a great or poor fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scents wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.